Is this the Blind Math Podcast, Zero?
I don't know who Zero is. I'm an alien from outer space.
Start the same way we start every podcast. Let's just talk about nothing, I guess. Today is another conversation in nothing. With you, we have Absolute Zero and Zachary Bischoff on the Blind Math Podcast.
This time, I want to ask you my questions. Never ask for my questions.
Yeah, sure. I ask for your questions every time. You never have any. But yes, I'd love to hear one.
Okay. What do you think about free will? Like, you're a scientific man, right? You believe in, science, discipline, and, the repeatability and testability of things.
Right.
But, like, when I say free will, do you think that, the human mind is just like a very complicated computer, basically, and that based on its environment, it will react the same way to that environment,
right?
That stimuli,
yeah.
If it was exactly the same, it would react the same way every single time, so that there is no actual free will. You
right,
were just
right.
Like,
we were set in motion, and we're just kind of right.
Yeah.
Well, the way I view the whole free will debate, I heard Christopher Hitchens. He had a great quote about it. He said, "We have free will because we have no choice." And like the way I see it is like, we have free will. We have no choice. There's no choice. There's free will. Like that's how I see it. There's almost really no purpose in discussing it because it's like what happens if we don't have free will? Are you going to like now change your moral actions? Like, are you going to be like, well, there's nothing that I can do? And what happens if there is free will? Is there going to be any difference? Like, of course not, because that's pretty much how everyone is assumed anyways, right? Like that you can like change your outlook and whatnot. But so it's basically like, is there fate or is there not? And to me, it's like, I feel like once you start blaming stuff on fate is when you start justifying all the dumb shit you're doing, like kind of not caring, you know what I mean?
Well, that having no free will does have consequences.
Yeah.
And the big major consequence is like our ideas of justice are predicated on the idea that you didn't have to do whatever it is that you did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if there was no choice and you had to rob the person because of the environment, you had to, do whatever it is that you did that was against the law.
Yeah.
What is the point of the justice system?
Well, I see what you're saying.
There's no alternative.
Also though, before you can start making like ideas about whether or not there's free will, you have to get a lot better at the science of neurology. You know what I mean? Like you've got to understand the brain a lot better than we do now. So like to me, like the whole free will question is kind of like it's almost like string theory. You know what I mean? It's like there's no verifiable evidence for it. It's there, there's no like way to experimentally test it as of now with the current technology we have. So it's like impossible to like, except string theory has a lot more mathematics behind it than the whole like the brain is a computer idea. Like the whole notion that the brain is like a computer that's like just been set in motion and like the program's running, right? You know what I mean? As we speak, you know what I mean? Like that whole idea, I feel like you need a lot better science.
Okay, so in a theoretical future where we have this better science, what is the, if we have any technology possible, what would be your way to test whether we have free will? Like design like some kind of like thought experiment.
any thought experiment, it would be very amoral, but that's okay. Like let's say that you're allowed to like, murder children or whatever.
Okay.
So like you could take 2 clones, right?
Okay.
Build them with the exact same genes. Nothing different. Not a single thing different. Same DNA like everywhere, and put them in similar situations and then get another set of clones and put them in different situations. And that would be the control, obviously, and see what happens. Like, and observe what happens. But the thing is, the hard part about putting them in the same situation is they can't interact, right? Because if they interact, like there's gonna be some overlay and you'll have problems. You would have to like literally put them on islands, you know what I mean? Like where they don't know anything else exists. Like you might have to like get a tribe to do it. It might have to be a tribe, just people who don't like contact with anybody else because they could never find out about each other's existence. But they would also have to speak the same language. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And man, so you'd have to get 2 sets of like twins or clones. You would have to get like a community of clones, basically.
Of clones, okay.
You need a lot of clones.
So what would be the marker that free will doesn't exist?
If they do the exact same shit minus a slight margin of error, you know what I mean? If you were able to do it properly, obviously there would have to be a margin of error because it's an experiment. But like if they're essentially doing the same stuff.
You see that doesn't even address free will to me, because like if you have like you could chalk that up to genetics, because I mean we have strong indicators of genetics. We can tell like what's your likelihood of being schizophrenic or alcoholic or anything of that nature based on your genetics. Yeah. That has nothing to do with whether you had a choice or not, or does it?
Well, that's what I mean, because like it would be like, they all are doing their own thing. So if they're all interacting the same way, you would have to put them on identical islands. And if they're all doing the exact same shit, you know what I mean? Like literally down to the word, like not just like, hey, this person happens to build a house that looks similar to his clone. I mean, like they literally do everything. They wake up at the same time, like, you know what I mean? And like,
but how would you create like an environment that is the exact same?
It'd be hard, man. You'd have to build some islands, and you'd also have to like fuck with some people. Like you'd have to ruin some people's lives, make them purely invent them for experimental purposes. I
feel like that doesn't address the issue at hand.
Why not?
I mean, what do you think about this? Do you think that like if we could get your actions down to probability, that means that we don't have free will? Like let's say that we could predict your next series of actions within 95% accuracy or something. Does that mean that there's no free will, or does that mean that like is probability free will? Like the act of
if that was the case
of you not like something not being 100%, does that mean that like the existence of that probability is there in free will?
Right. I understand what you're saying. Like I would say no. Like because like you would need it to be 100%, but 99% would suggest that there's less free will than you think. I think obviously environmental factors make a huge difference.
Yeah, but
and like also, I mean, and your nature makes a huge. I mean, this is kind of turning into a nature versus nurture debate.
No, it's different than nature versus nurture, because I think you're confusing them together. You're mixing them together, because nature versus nurture is is your genetics versus your upbringing.
Yeah, but that's
Free will is saying, do you make any choices at all?
That's what I'm saying.
Or
like, yeah.
are you purely reacting to your environment?
So 99% wouldn't be enough, is what I'm saying.
But you can still have in both of those systems, there's still the influence of nature and nurture. So like,
right.
if there's no free will, then like your environment plays a key role in your development. Your environment will still change, you know, what you do. It's
right.
not saying that. And it's like, and if is free will, your environment still changes what you will end up doing, or your genetics, you know, like there's obviously links to that.
Yeah.
But it's like, it exists in its like own realm.
You know, maybe they could do it with animals, like that experiment I was talking, because I think that would honestly make, because like if they literally did the exact same shit, like down to the every step, because that's the only way you would be able to predict. Like you're saying, if you could predict like 99%, well, yeah, how are you going to do that? How are you going to prove that that's possible? I'm saying the experiment that you need to do would be to like put it in like in an identical environment, so there's no change like on nature or nurture. You know what I mean? So it's like the same thing. And then you could see if like their brain acts like a program and does the same shit in both clones. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would be an interesting experiment to run. I mean, maybe you could do it with mice or something. But thing is, I don't know. I don't know. It'd be a very difficult experiment to run.
You see, but then I feel like there's things that are like outside of our control that would like end up making huge changes that way down the line. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could easily get cancer, you know, starting today based on, you know, one electron that knocks off, you know, one nucleotide that changes that one change, and 10 years from now you have cancer. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's so many like radioactive, you know, isotopes just floating everywhere that can decay at any point in time. And those things are by their very nature unpredictable. Like,
it'd be fucking really hard. And
well,
that's what I'm saying.
Isn't that the whole Schrodinger cat discussion that like that like it's unpredictable, you know, like if you had
no, it's Schrodinger's cat was kind of like, it's like like there's in a way you're like what you're saying, like you're connecting two things that make sense. Like like basically the whole idea is that you can only be so predictable with like quantum events, you know. So like that's what the Schrodinger's cat thing. If you guys don't know by any chance what the Schrodinger's cat like
you want me to explain the experiment?
Sure, if you'd like. Yeah.
It's basically saying that if you had like some radioactive isotope and you had it connected to a Geiger counter inside of a box, and that was the fuse to some kind of
poison or cyanide
gas, right? And
you put
in
a
that
cat
box,
in the box.
You put a cat, right? And let's say it had a 50% chance of decaying. Because it's a quantum event, you have no way of predicting or knowing whether the cat is dead or alive. It somehow exists both as being dead and alive, which is illogical.
And this whole scenario was something that during the foundation of quantum mechanics, different scientists, including Einstein, who are skeptical of Schrodinger's like equation, which explained quantum mechanics, they came up with this scenario because they're like, this is bad science. Is the cat alive or is it dead? You know, you need to tell me. Because like you're basically using quantum mechanics where you're going to be like, well, we're like 80% sure that it's alive. It's like, well, that's bad science is what they were saying. So it's not really a paradox. It's just like kind of like a scientist saying like, this is shit. Quantum mechanics is not good.
I think it is considered a paradox because I think that like that one interpretation is that it's both alive and dead.
Yeah, like, I mean, not really. Like there's some people who like, I don't know. I don't think that that's really taken with much seriousness. That like that'd be interesting, but I don't think so.
I think that the way they do that is like by it's like the summation of the probabilities. It's just like the electron slit experiment thing,
right? Yeah,
like,
no, it's all based off.
It takes all the paths possible.
Schrodinger's equation is a result of the double slit experiment.
Yeah,
it's a result of the fact that when you try to measure a particle, you have to send a photon at it.
Yeah,
and sending a photon at something
changes
fucks its path up. And a photon, if you don't know, is what light. It's light matter, basically. It's the matter that light is made out of. Okay, and like and for that matter, like X-rays or microwaves, they're all made out of photons. So like if you have a particle and you want to look at it, you have to send a particle at it and fuck up its path, and you get all kinds of problems. And like it's not good. It's really uncomfortable. And if you think you understand quantum mechanics now based off what we're talking about, then you don't understand what we're talking about, because there's not a single physicist who understands quantum mechanics on that level and doesn't get pissed off at it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's frustrating. Like when I first heard about the electron slit experiment, like I was just like this can't have happened, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's just like this can't have happened. It just like defies all logic that it's like you observe like, all right, which slit did this go through, and then it acts as a particle, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like,
right,
like,
well, yeah, and like that's the thing, because like so you can like see where the particle lands, or you can see what the particle's doing as it's moving there in its trajectory. You have one of those two options basically when you're doing this. So what quantum mechanics essentially does is it makes probability functions and tries to make use of them. Like that's what the Schrodinger equation really is.
Yeah.
It's just like taking probability functions or wave functions and making sense of them, because every particle is different, but yeah, it's fucking weird, man. Like quantum mechanics is like, I took like a couple classes, and it is like, the thing is, the concepts are really straightforward. It's like a lot more straightforward than you would think. But like the fucking math for it is pages long. Like I do not have the patience for it. Like the people who are good at quantum mechanics are fucking amazing to me. Like it's so beautiful when you see it. Like sometimes like just like their handwriting, like it's just like they can write so fast and all these Greek letters, and like they can make these diagrams, just like they can draw perfectly straight lines and perfectly round circles. Like it's just like it's amazing. Like it's just because they do it all the time. Like it's just like hundreds of times a day. Like it's just like, I don't know. It's like art to me, really. Like just that, or almost like playing a violin. It's just like that nice finesse, like that. I don't know.
That you have to do with only like
or like
only time and like
or like watching someone make sushi or something. Yeah, it's just like, oh man, or you know what I mean? Just like watching the guy who's doing the stir fry, who's done it like a million times, and somehow like even though it's just a stir fry, makes it better than you could ever make a stir fry.
Yeah, You see, because I was wondering about that a lot, because I was watching This American Life
or listening to This American Life.
Whatever.
Well, there's actually a TV show called This American Life that's pretty good. But yeah, I'm sorry, but
I was listening to This American Life, and there was one portion of one of the shows that was about pedophiles, and it was basically, but it wasn't like the normal pedophile, story. I'm sorry for anyone if this is a trigger or something, but I don't know. I feel like this kind of needs to be spoken about as well.
We talk about all things on this podcast.
Like basically, what it was saying is that like it was like young. They had these young pedophiles who had attractions to young children, and but they hadn't acted on any of them, and they were trying to get
pedophiles. How young?
Yeah, well, I think they were like 17, 18.
And they were into like 12-year-olds or something?
Yeah, but no, younger than that. I think that he said that he was attracted, like the main guy that they interviewed was like 3 to 13 or something.
3 to 13?
Yes.
Wait, so the guy was 13 who was like the pedophile, and he was into 3-year-olds?
No, the guy was 18.
Oh, and he was into people who were 3 to 13 years old.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's all right. Okay. That's weird.
I mean, obviously it's weird, but they were saying that it's actually more common than you might think. It's 1 to 3% of males.
Huh.
Apparently. So that's kind of a lot, man, if you think about it. Out
Yeah.
of 100 people, 1 to 3 of them would be into little kids. That's kind of a lot. That's kind of like a shockingly a lot. But
yeah.
I guess that's not the point of what I was saying.
No, it's
But
fucking
basically,
it's fucking crazy.
What the problem was is that he identified that he had a problem when he was young, because he was like, when he went into puberty, he realized that he was attracted to young kids, and he figured that as he got older,
it'd go away,
that he would just be attracted to people his, like, it would grow with him, you know what I mean? Like, you'd be attracted to people your age and keep going. And he's like, it never happened. And he's just like, he was sure that he was a pedophile, so he tried to get like help, from psychologists and shit. But like, basically, because of a combination of how the laws work and the fact that nobody is researching this, there was no real help for him. Like, he went to psychiatrists, and they were just basically like, we can't help you.
Fuck, man.
And
but none of them wanted to?
Well, apparently...
Not even he pay them?
Yeah, he did pay them, but the problem is, like, the way the law is, you have to, like, report people who, like, you feel are a threat to children. So it's, like, really tough legally for you to take on that patient, because you could be, like, legally liable if they do anything.
Damn.
And it's hard to assess, how likely is he to assault a child, because he hasn't done it yet, but he has the capability,
and he's admitting that he's thinking about it,
and so he's trying to get help.
Holy fuck, man.
There's no resources for him.
Wait, hold on, does that count as thought crime?
Well, I mean, he can't get convicted of anything, but
yeah,
he can't get help because they're going to be liable if he does do something.
Oh, right. So they're worried that he might act on it, and then they would, like, go to prison.
Yeah, they can lose their license and go to prison. Yeah.
So he's got to find someone that would trust him to, like, not act on his true feelings, which is not an easy thing to find a psychologist who would be like...
Yeah, you see, and then the other thing is that that there's very, very few people doing any kind of research on that topic, because apparently there's like a whole bunch of stigmas against it, and you get viewed as like a pedophile sympathizer or something. Like, there's like a lot of negative. I mean, obviously for good reason, guys. And we're not trying to like say that pedophiles are like moral or anything, because he understood the fact that it was wrong to act on his feelings.
Yeah.
But like, one of the things that they were talking about in the show is like, by leaving these people and just ignoring it and putting our hands up in the air and be like, it's like saying that, like, you can never act on any of your sexual desires ever from now until the time that you die.
Yeah, man.
Like, can you imagine that? Like, if your desires were illegal, and you had to like just not do that for the rest of your life.
That's why a lot of gay people
parallel.
kill themselves. Like, because if they live in like areas where like gayness is like viewed in the same like realm as like pedophilia, which to me is so fucked up. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, two adults who are like in love, like, to not have sex. Like, I don't understand. Like, what does their genitals have anything to do?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know, but that's just me. But man, that's fucking bananas.
It's a like, I never thought of it that way. Like, I never thought of it. I mean, obviously, you should never, ever, let me get this straight, ever, do anything sexual with a child for any reason. It's so beyond fucked. But it's just like they're kind of like in a fucked position, and I'm assuming that there's some genetic predisposition to being a pedophile. Like,
you think so?
It has to be, man, because it's not even something that I like even would consider for a moment. You know?
Yeah.
What I mean?
Well, I mean, the thing is, a lot of pedophiles were molested as children. And that, like, that's like why they. I mean, that's a huge that's a theory for why there were so much like boy man sex in like ancient Greece. You know, because like they would just get passed down, like everyone would get fucked by a man, you know what I mean? Like as a like get like molested as a boy when you were young, and you'd get older and you'd have the same things. Like they say people who have like sexual violence towards them of some kind when they were younger are a lot likelier to be more promiscuous when they get older, like, you know, in one way or another, you know, which I think is kind of sad, you know. It's like they're passing down the fucked upness, you know. Yeah,
it is. Like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, man, pedophilia is fucked up.
It is fucked up.
But
it's one of those dark topics. So I was just wondering, like.
Oh, do you have another question?
Oh no, it was just like I was thinking back to the free will thing, like
right,
like, you know. I don't know. I was just like, that's the whole reason I was thinking about it. Like how much, like what do we have control over and what don't we have control over? And like how much of like what's passed on to us genetically, like will just dominate the way we live our lives in like an uncontrollable way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I try not to get too caught up in that because I want to take the reins of my life. Like I don't want to be like held back by my own indecision or my own depression or my own fear that what I'm doing is not making an effect, you know. Like I try to like push those thoughts away and like think like I can take control. I can, you know, get out of bed and go get this shit done, you know. You know what I mean?
The good thing is people have done studies about that, like, and apparently thinking that you don't have free will makes people act more terrible than otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to like draw on your instincts, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. Like if you feel something like that, like who you are and that you can't change, like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like there's certain things, like I feel like there's an extent that you can predict people, obviously, right? And there's an extent that we don't have free will, and like the way that you're defining it, I think, and like, you know what I mean? Like the way you were saying, like 99% is predictable, but there's still 1% that isn't. You know, that means that there isn't necessarily free will. I mean, unless that 1% can be summed up by like margin of error, you know what I mean? Which is totally possible. But if it wasn't, like, you know, I don't know, like you can't, that 1% means there's free will, you know? So like just a dash of it though. And I think maybe it's closer to 40-60.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know, but yeah, free will is, I don't know. That's like religious people have been debating it for so long, and none of them fucking know, is all. Like, none of them have a clue.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's one of those things that's knowable. I think in a religious context, the idea of free will gets even stranger. So I'm not even gonna go into a religious context.
Yeah.
Because that would just get weird.
Yeah,
We're not very religious here on the Blind Map.
No, we don't have to talk about religion. We always talk about religion.
Do we? I don't think
I feel like
talked about
maybe
religion.
I just think about it a lot is all.
Oh.
But always like in opposition. Like I like to read arguments against religion because, like, you know, you always meet a religious person who has like one like pocket of something that you haven't addressed before. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to be very well versed in my anti-religious rhetoric.
Well, I feel like I've dived deep into Christianity and dived deep into the arguments against Christianity, and it is what it is. I have all the answers for all of the apologists.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I mean, like, if they need an answer, I can pretty much answer anything. That
yeah,
they might
I mean, but like the thing is like asking them something.
Yeah, but I feel like the problem that ends up happening with those debates is that they always devolve into each person trying to trap the other person.
Yeah. Like, could I tell a story real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
The other day, I went to I wanted some salmon, some fish, and there's this fish market near where I live,
Mm-hmm.
And I went inside, and the guy said, "Hey, good news. If you're here for the smoked salmon, it's on sale. It's the last one we have." And I was like, "Awesome, I want it." Smoked salmon. I'm a Jew. I love smoked salmon.
Mm-hmm.
This is like Southern smoked salmon. It's like not Jewish, which is exciting for me.
Yeah.
Anyways, I go inside. He told me that he was robbed of all of his fish. Somebody like broke both of his windows with rocks. Right, two windows, which I think is strange that they broke two windows, and stole his fish. He had like hundreds of pounds of fish, probably.
Wow.
And they fucking stole him,
Wow.
which is like so like who's the fuck steals fish? Like who does that?
know.
Like what are they gonna do? Sell it on the black fish market? Like what the fuck is that?
Hey man, if it was like one of those $1 million tunas, I would hijack that thing in a minute.
Yeah, but who's gonna buy them?
Fly to Japan with $1 million
I don't think
tuna.
so, dude. This is like some Southern dude. He's like Cajun. He's from Louisiana. Like I don't think. Yeah, but it's like what the fuck. So all he had left was this smoked salmon because he was doing that at his home. So, So like he had one piece left, and I was like, I'm gonna buy this. This is great.
Yeah.
And he was gonna give me a deal. It was wonderful. But he started talking to me about. He told me that his windows were broken, right? And he started talking about how Jesus was like protecting him. And he asked me if I was Jewish, right?
Yeah.
While he was talking about Jesus, right? And it was a fair question because when he told me he had smoked salmon, I was like, "Oh, you have lox?" And he's like, "Actually, no, it's smoked salmon. It's different."
Yeah.
And I look very Jewish.
Yeah.
You're just but no, I mean, and so like I was like, all right, yeah, whatever. I'm Jewish, I told him yes, because I really didn't want to get there, I didn't want to be like, and he kept talking about how like, his church was really good friends with Jews, and that, he was, like Jewish people came to his church and did stuff, and that they were good people, and he was talking about it for a while, and then he asked me a question about like my relationship with Judaism. I forget exactly the specific, and I was thinking in that moment, like, should I answer this truthfully or should I lie? And I decided truthfully, and I was like, well, actually, although I call myself a Jew, I actually don't believe in God. Like, and he was like, that's very interesting. I can tell you're a thing. And like, he went on this long, he started talking a lot. He told me that he believed in the Big Bang, but not evolution, which to me is, I don't get it. I don't get that. And he told me like that he'd been reading this book that was like all these arguments against religion, and he was, or against atheism, I'm sorry, like what was it called? It was called like The Case for God or something.
Oh yeah.
Or The Case for Faith, I think.
I think you're right. I think it's The Case for God.
Oh yeah, I forget. But yeah, you might know what I'm talking about. And he was like showing me like passages in it, and he was saying stuff like atheists arrogantly say that, that there's like no creator, but they don't have anything to replace the creator, and all this stuff. And like, and I don't know. I was kind of like, I had arguments for him, obviously, and we were talking for a long time. And he was like, you should read this book, this Case for Faith book. And I was like, okay, I'll read it, but you have to read God Is Not Great, How Religion Poisons Everything by Christopher Hitchens. And he was like, well, maybe I'll find that. And I was but like, it was honestly a really good conversation because like, I could tell like he'd been hurting, like his fish got stolen. Like like he's not fucking rich. Like, I mean, he's been there for a while, so he's okay. He's not gonna, and he probably had insurance also, but like
we can only hope.
I didn't ask, but and like he gave me a really good deal for the salmon. It was fucking delicious, and I highly recommend if you're in Tallahassee and you want to get some fish. I don't know what the place is called, but it's off Bruno. Right next to Birds, Aphrodisiac, right upstream on Bruno from Birds, and it's fucking really good. I would not be surprised if Birds Aphrodisiac Shack doesn't get some of their fish from this market, But anyways, I don't know, cause like I get in those conversations a lot. Like when people like ask me about my faith, it happens a lot because people have disagreed with my faith since I was born.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up, like I went to a Southern school, the only Jew, and like, every like fucking Hanukkah, they asked me to like show them what a dreidel was. You know what I mean? And people, you know how it is. Like, it's like the same thing, but with you, but for black.
but for black. All right. Yeah, basically.
No, I'm just kidding. It's a
No, I
little
feel what
different.
you're saying.
It's a little different because like it's like a philosophical thing, and you can't tell I'm Jewish necessarily from the outside, you know. But
Yeah, but I mean, I think like the only bad thing about the only problem I've ever had with being an atheist is that I had to tell my mom that I wasn't an atheist eventually, or that I was an atheist.
when did you tell her that?
I don't know, maybe like 2 years ago.
How did she react?
Not good. It wasn't the worst thing. I didn't get excommunicated or anything, or like, but she just like, I could tell I like disappointed her. You know what I mean? Just that like, you disappointed your parents type thing.
Did she just like get quiet or something and sad, or?
Yeah, basically.
Shit.
And
how often does she go to church?
She's not the biggest church goer, because I think that she realized before me how bullshit churches are.
Well, that's good. Sounds like a nice deist.
Yeah, I mean, she still likes going to church. She still likes watching church and religious services, but it's like, I don't know, churches are filled with people, and churches tend to also be filled with pretentious people. Yeah. And churches also bring in a lot of money. Yeah. When you combine those things, you get like a douchebag center.
Oh yeah, that's why my parents stopped going to the synagogue in my town. Yeah. Because like it was like the only synagogue, and like Naples was getting more expensive, and you know the Jews could afford membership, so like, fucking. I know that sounds really anti-Semitic, but I mean it's fucking true. Like we couldn't afford membership, like, and we stopped paying membership dues, but I still would go to services every now and again, and people did not like me like once we stopped paying membership dues.
Oh really?
Like yeah, and it was like, what the fuck, like how are you gonna do that to like membership dues to go to fucking
church? Yeah,
like
exactly.
I thought we're like
synagogue.
Praying to God. Like you don't even have taxes to pay.
Exactly.
Like what the fuck? Like whose fucking paycheck am I paying like that? Stop recording for a second because Zero's a cracker. But no, like I'm just saying, like, how long had it been stopped?
I don't know. You want me to play it back?
I don't know, maybe.
All right, so I'll fix this in editing or something.
All right,
so on to the next thing. Which is
actually, I just want to say, like, religious people need to keep their shit to themselves. I'm so tired of hearing religious people tell me as an atheist that atheists love to bring it up and are pretentious and talk about it like your ear off all the time. Because when was the last time you saw a crazy atheist in like a public speaking area, like standing on a rock with a megaphone yelling, if you don't convert to atheism, you're going to die, and like your children are going to get raped by Satan, or any, you know what I mean? Like that never happens.
Yeah,
who's done that?
Oh, what's his name? Richard Dawkins?
He doesn't do that. I mean in a public square, like Richard Dawkins just writes books about it. I mean, there's so many
on interviews and
but that, so what? But like my point is, like, have you ever had someone knock on your door saying, "Hey, would you want to be an atheist?" No. And like there's a shit ton of atheists in this country. It's like 20% atheists at this point.
And rising.
Yeah, and still there aren't people like the worst thing that you're going to get is someone will bring it up at a party when he shouldn't have. But how many times have you been at a party and someone brought up Jesus and you just didn't address it? Yeah. It fucking happens, and it's so stupid cuz like if you say you're atheist, like just people get offended, you know? But one thing that does annoy me about atheists though is that they act like they're persecuted in the same way that like minorities have been persecuted in this country.
Oh, really?
And like I'm not certain that they have been. Like I think they have been excommunicated, but there hasn't been like an atheist genocide or an atheist slavery, you know? Like for the most part, like atheists can just build a house somewhere and like their neighbors will be pissed off at them, you know? Like I don't think, have you ever heard of an atheist lynching in this country?
No.
I've heard of Jewish lynchings. There's been Muslim, killings, which, but no atheist lynchings. But that's because atheists don't give a fuck, Atheists aren't going to go protest like churches. I mean, maybe they might protest the Westboro Baptist Church, but like other than that, like, and that's an extreme. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, how could like the reason why I don't like the Westboro Baptist Church has much less to do with their Christianity and much more to do with their crazy actions of protesting funerals.
One of my problems with Christianity too, or like those type of people, is just like, man, there are so many people who are practicing Christianity in a manner that is just like so not like within the realm of Christianity. You know what I mean? Like they should be like fixing the people that are in Christianity.
Yeah.
And actually make them, I don't know
if that's true though.
Follow its teachings or something.
I always see, that's one of the arguments that that's the salmon guy made, was that like all, because I kept saying how there's a lot of cases of Christians doing fuckery, right? And we could talk all day about Christians doing fuckery. Well, he was saying that those people aren't Christian, they're people using Christianity in the wrong way. And to me, it's like, it's such a matter of perspective, because to them, he's using Christianity in the wrong way by believing in the Big Bang, which is, you know, which to me
I don't
is,
think the Bible eliminates the Big Bang.
It doesn't. It fucking doesn't, and it doesn't eliminate. Well, I guess it does, but
it doesn't eliminate evolution.
I mean, the thing is, if you're reading it literally, yeah. But the thing is, the Bible has so much fuckery in it. Like, there's a lot of problems with the Bible, and you know, we don't even need to talk about them, because if you fucking just sit down and actually read the Bible for once,
you'll become an atheist.
You'll know, like not with, and I don't mean like sitting down with a priest and like him reading it to you. I mean at your home with a light on, no one's in the room, reading the Bible. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Like,
like I didn't realize it until much later. Like, if you just like read like the New Testament and just read the stories, like there's so many like contradictions and just confusion about, like, you're just like, what is Jesus talking about right now? He's like talking about being on earth and being an example and being to God, and like he just keeps like you're just like, man, like there's some parts of that just don't make any sense.
Yeah, because at best it's secondhand testimony at best, and it's not like, I will disagree that it's even that. You know, I mean, the first records of Jesus happened 40 years after his death.
I thought it was closer to 50, but we get.
But either
idea.
like either way, like, I mean, imagine that shit, like in a place without like many people who can even write or read, trying to keep a story alive for 40 years before ever writing it down. You know what I mean?
You see, my whole problem is that, like, I'm pretty sure that, like, if Jesus did exist and it was like 2,000 years ago, like, why wouldn't he be just like somebody like, what's the dude who founded Mormonism? Like, is that
Joseph Smith?
Joseph Smith, yeah. like he, like, I feel like that Jesus was just like the Joseph
a pedophile.
Smith
a polygamist rather.
Wait, no, not a polygamist.
Yeah, no, I understand. He's a
but like,
he was
he just had
the same
like,
thing.
Like, imagine if you know, more like the same person was back 2,000 years ago, and he had followers that worshipped him as a god, and they wrote a book about him 50 years later.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, it's the same thing.
It's
the same thing. And, like, that's the thing that I love. Like, I think it might have been Richard Dawkins who said, like, everyone is an atheist for every god except their own. I just take it one god further, you know? Like, no one believes in, like, Thor anymore, but a lot of people used to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's like these gods, they come in and out of, like, you know, popularity.
Yeah,
they're like fads.
Interpretation of the Bible has changed so much with time.
Yeah. And like Mormons, even a lot of Mormons are losing their faith, and I can kind of see why. Because like, not only is Mormonism fucking a load of shit, but like, if you're a Mormon, it's kind of similar to being a Jew. Like, you're the other. Unless you live in Utah, like, you're the other. You're the guy who's always defending your faith, right, to other people.
Yeah.
So unless those people are just like ill-informed, like, oh, Church of Latter-day Saints, that sounds like Jesus, you know. But like, when they actually look into it, they realize that Mormonism is way different from normal Christianity, you know. And the thing is, like, those people have to defend themselves, and by doing so they learn about religion as a whole. And I really believe that the more you learn about the world religions, the less faith you're going to have.
Well, that's only if you look at it like objectively. There's two people. There's the type of person who will look at the Bible and they'll probably become an atheist, but there's the other person who just reads it selectively, and
like they sharpen and level it. Like,
yeah, it's like you get confirmation bias. That's
right
easy to happen.
Right? Yeah, absolutely, man. Like that's so true.
I read the Bible. I didn't see any contradictions. Like I had like I remember having a debate with one of the people in the middle of the school, like at FSU, and they're just like
one of the crazy people I was talking about. The people on the rock.
Contradictions. Show me a contradiction. I'm like, dude, there's a million contradictions. Yeah. There's no contradictions. You're just misinterpreting it. Like what? I mean, like one of the first things Jesus, like in one of his first.
What about thou shalt not murder, and that then there's all kinds of murders in the Bible that God permits. What about that?
Like that's God commanded him to contradict.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, God's allowed to fucking lie.
He's not, but he's allowed to have a bet with Satan.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever read Job before?
I know the story. Yeah, I read it
like
actually.
God has a bet with Satan.
Yeah, and he's like he's just proving that Job is devout.
Would be devout even if I took away all his shit and killed his family. Yeah. That he would and gave him leprosy.
Yeah,
he gave him leprosy, killed his family and all his animals. Just to win a bet with the devil?
Yeah, like what kind of fuckery is that? Like, I really hope God is not real, man. I really hope. I'm pretty certain that he's not. But
do you know how absurd that story sounds?
Yeah, and people are right now. They're probably like who believe in God. If they are listening, they're probably thinking that we're like afraid of God. And the thing is, we're not. Like, there's no like you can't fear something that doesn't exist. It's like, I mean, to me, it's like, I don't know. It's like, I have no problem talking shit about God, man. Because God is just, it's just like this idea that has no basis in like scientific data. And it really just like facilitates like crazy thinking. It facilitates illogical thought, in my opinion. However, I don't hate people that are like, who believe, because it's like, I have some things that facilitate logical thought. Right? Like nobody's perfect the way I see it. Like I can't like, and like I've met plenty of people who find a way to rationalize their religion with like very secular like ways, and like a lot of times they're deists. I can respect a deist, which like I think Tarzan's a deist, and like
what's a deist?
A deist is someone who believes in God but thinks that God does not affect their day-to-day actions. And that basically you can do what you want. Like Thomas Jefferson was a deist. He wrote the Jefferson Bible, which was basically he took the real Bible, took all the supernatural acts that Jesus did out, removed them out, and just left all of what Jesus said, only what he said. Like it was basically the philosophy of Jesus is what it was. Okay. Which I was like, that's kind of cool. Like I thought that was kind of smart,
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like probably a good read, Yeah, like to just read it like
read
that.
The philosophy of Jesus.
And it takes all the bullshit out, so you don't have to read over like all the stuff like and the son of yada 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 and the son of
It's also funny. Like a lot of Jesus's ministry was like talking about how inflated the church was and how the preachers were or the Pharisees or whatever were using their power to manipulate people and create extraneous rules. And then it's like you fast forward 1,000 years later, we have all these religious institutions who abuse their power, hoard money, create extraneous rules that are not like, and it's just like, God damn it, you guys missed the fucking basics. Like, what the fuck? Like, if there was a Jesus and he's looking at this shit, he's probably shaking his head going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said not to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's very true, man. It's sad. It's sad.
It is.
Religion is sad. But hey, man, can we not? I want to ask you something. Like I was.
What?
Do we have, how much time do we have much time?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Well, we can talk about it again on another podcast, but I really wanted to ask you how you felt about fighting, because I've been talking to people a lot about this lately, and I was just wondering, have you ever been in a fight?
Yeah, not really.
Have you ever been punched in the face?
Kind of.
What? Like, was it in, like, were you boxing or something?
I was like super young, and I got like kind of into an altercation, but it wasn't too serious. Nothing too serious.
How old were you?
I was probably like 12.
Really?
So nothing too.
No
serious.
fights.
Yeah,
Don't
fights.
you? What siblings do you have?
I don't have any siblings.
Oh shit! I for some reason I was like, if he had siblings, I feel like I would have known about them by now.
Actually, I do have a sibling. I'm lying. I have yeah.
Wait, why would you do that?
I'm kidding. Like I have. Well, it's kind of weird though, because I have a sister, like half sister, but like, I never really lived with her.
Okay.
So I don't really think of myself as having like siblings, like
right?
Because like I only saw her for like, a day here, a week here.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Well, I don't know, because I mean, I was just gonna say, I was talking to some people about fighting, because this guy I know, who I don't know, I hope he probably wouldn't care if I mention it. Like, we'll mention his band. You should look up the Back Pages. It's a very good band from Orlando. Very good. A friend of mine, Casey Allen, is in it. He's an excellent musician, and I respect the hell out of their music. You should look it up. It's a very good band. If you happen to be listening to it, we could put like a link to their Bandcamp maybe in the description, if that's cool.
Okay.
But so yeah, the Back Pages. Anyways, I was talking to him, like, he was the other day, I was at a show with him, and he was like really, like, he was like talking about how he wanted to get in a fight, and he was like drunk and like, kind of joking, but he was like, I really want to get in a fight with somebody. And I was like, why? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, you want to fight me? Like, we'll just like play fight. Like, I was like, let's body box, because I was drunk enough, like it seemed like a fun thing to do. And he was like, no, I want to fight someone that I hate. I don't hate you. I like you. And I was like, you want to find someone that you hate and fight them? Like, you want to punch someone in the face? He's like, yeah. It's like, have you been punched in the face? And, and like, I don't know, like it kind of dawned on me, like this guy, I was like, man, fighting fucking sucks. Like, have you seen very many fights, Zero?
Yes.
Like in your neighborhood, like, like people pissed off at, like kids pissed off and like fighting each other?
Yeah, I've seen a couple fights here or there.
Because I find like the whole nature of fights very interesting and like horrifying at the same time.
Most fights get broken up though very quickly.
Yeah, but have you ever seen someone get kicked in the head or like bashed in the head? You know what I mean?
No.
That shit's fucking terrifying, man.
To that point, yeah.
Because I've seen fights that like had no parental supervision. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
like
but usually, like
I've been in a fight like that.
Supervision, but just like, I don't know. Usually there's people there, like,
yeah, exactly.
And, like usually people
right
don't want to like let two people fight because it's stupid.
Well, I mean, I was in a fight once that lasted. I got my ass beat. I had fucked up, right? And I thought I was a fighter up until this point, Yeah. And like I realized that I wasn't, because I didn't really want to hit him, and I hated him too. I fucking hated this guy, but I hit him a couple times, But like he got way more hits in, and the thing is, it's not I didn't have the opportunity, because I did. I just fucking I just didn't have it in me. Like I just didn't want to fight him is all.
Yeah.
And like I realized, like I was like listening to Bill Burr talk about this, like 95% of people will not fight.
Yeah.
Like they won't, like they'll, you sometimes you like go to like a club or something and you see some bros that are like, you want to fight me? I'll fight you. Fuck you. I'll fight you. Fight. And then like 5 minutes later, they're like, man, I love you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, there's always people who just are going to say it, but they don't do it. And it happens all the time, you know? And like, honestly, knowing that will keep you out of so many fights. Because like someone will walk up, like be a dick and be like, what the fuck, man? What'd you do? You want to fight me? And you can just like look at them and tell that they don't mean that they want to fight you. They don't even fucking know you, you know? Like, why would they even say that, I've
never even been close to somebody, like, wanting to fight me, and
Really?
I think I'm assuming that it's the fact that I'm like black and like.
Oh, really?
Thing. Yeah. I
Well,
feel
what,
like
what
that
about
people,
what about like other people of color? Like, don't like that aren't afraid of black people?
Not really. Like most people just like if they run into me or I run into them in a club, just kind of apologize and walk away.
Well, isn't that some shit right there? That's beautiful in a weird way. Like, I mean, I don't get to have that problem. I got in fights when I was younger, and it was mostly from people being like anti-Semitic and me being a cocky asshole. You know.
Well, like, I'm also not cocky too. I'm
yeah.
like soft-spoken guy.
That's true.
So.
Maybe that's my problem. I have my mouth
know.
works too much. But like, I don't know. Like, not like works well. I mean, like works too often.
That's what she said.
But I don't know. Because like, I don't know. I just find fights like people who will fight and people who won't. Like, it's a kind of an interesting thing. Because it's like when you see like people get really hurt, like. It's like not fun. It's not a fun thing.
I don't know. A fight is weird. It's just like I'm gonna like attack you, and you know, especially like you know, being untrained fighter, or even if you're a trained fighter, like you can easily break your fist.
You can kill someone. Really.
Well, I mean, you can hurt yourself.
Yeah, you can break your fist.
Them.
Yeah, that's
like that's something you gotta consider.
That's common. Yeah.
And then it's just like, and then like you're gonna. Literally like attack them until they can like their body can no longer function.
They fall over,
or they're in a state of like
fear,
of lost consciousness.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
or the point where they just give up and they're just like terrified of you. Basically, it's like one of those are your options. And like the thing is, that's kind of part of why I think like Ultimate Fighting, UFC, and like just like. Fighting for sport is it's like the purest sport there is, because like every other sport it's kind of like they're trying to release aggression out on this like a ball, you know, like they're just trying to put all this aggression they have into like this game. When it like fighting, it's straight up like, you know, one-on-one, and there's no ambiguity about whether or not it's bad for you. Like football, like they're like, you know, they give you the helmets and pretend like that's going to help you, but really you're getting fucked up playing football. It's terrible for you. But fighting, there's never been a fighter like, what, getting punched in the face is bad for my head? Like no, like there's no secret, you know. They take the willing, you know, punch. They take the punch. You know, they know that's part of it, and they're doing it willingly because they want to fight. They know that they're built to fight. They're one of the 5% of people who needs to fight, and so they do it, and they do it for sport, and they do it with rules. And I think there's something really, really great about that. I don't know. But
I don't know. I could agree with that. I mean, seeing UFC is probably like just like I enjoy it way more than boxing.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, it can be like a lot of grappling, which I don't really understand, but
it's really interesting though, isn't it?
It is and it isn't, because sometimes it can just get slow because like they're on the ground for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really
at the same time like it's just like, you know, that, you know, most of the rules that are there are literally to, you know, because like some moves are just too dangerous or like would cause too lasting injuries, but it doesn't really restrict who would win. And you're like seeing like, you know, this is like really, if at the pinnacle of, you know, hand-to-hand combat, this is the type of like way a fight can progress. You know what I mean? Yeah. But
I mean, you know, I think that's true. Like, I mean, it's like, I guess I'm not too terribly into it because I just think sports are boring in general because it's the same thing happening every time.
Well, that's why they don't tend to focus on the game. The really sports are soap operas.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's the way they're produced in their storyline.
You know, like football games, they have far more broadcasted slow motion plays than there are actual plays. Like there's a lot more time showing slow motion, like replays of the plays than actual plays. Like there's supposedly like any given game, there's about 11 minutes of actual football, and the rest of it is filler.
Yeah, that could be true. I could see
like,
that.
And that, you know, and like it's so fucking boring, man. Like it's so fucking boring.
Nah, I don't think that's boring, dude. I think you have to have like a base. Like I think if you played football, then it would be different.
I did play football,
You
man.
did?
I mean, like
how in
not in a
did you
team,
get?
but like I used to play football all the time, like in my
Yeah,
neighborhood.
but like
I know,
what I'm
like,
saying,
I
like-
mean, I don't think the team makes that big of a difference because I would play like almost every week with my
well,
friends.
no. But like if you don't, like I'm saying, like you can't understand football from like a strategic level.
I think I can, man. Like the
No,
thing is,
no,
like,
you
and I
can't.
don't really think that matters because,
yeah,
like,
it does matter because then
don't-
you can appreciate.
I don't think it matters
things
as much as you
that-
think it does because, like I think I like again, I used to play football all the time when I was younger, like in the neighborhood. Like it wasn't the exact, we didn't have the pads on and all that shit.
Yeah.
But I don't really think it really makes that big of a difference. Because like I mean, for instance, I played baseball, right?
Okay.
Like a bunch, Did you?
No.
And I mean, but I don't think that you can't appreciate it on a strategic level because you never
Well,
played it.
but, like,
and the thing is, like,
that's
you've
like-
played it. Have you played it in your neighborhood, like just like pickup?
Yeah.
So you know what the rules of baseball are,
Yeah.
and
But
like
baseball,
the basic like
you can't
schematics.
compare baseball or even basketball to football. Like they're not on the same level. That's like me telling you, like oh, you've never that's like me telling you you've never studied chess, like intense study.
I had a feeling
And
you were
then
going to say chess.
And then you go to watch like the two best players in the world play.
Yeah,
You're not gonna understand.
but you've
the
played,
game
but you've
on the
played
level.
chess
You're
on a
gonna
pickup level.
Yeah, you're gonna
you've
understand
played
the
it-
basics,
Right.
But there's so much that's gonna be.
But you can
lost
still
to
enjoy
you.
it, can't you?
I didn't say that. That's what I'm saying. I feel like that's part of the disconnect.
Okay, well,
is,
yeah,
like,
you
not
can know
having the
more. You
depth.
can know more about football than me. I'm not denying that. I'm sure fucking
Yeah.
Jimbo Fisher knows way more about football than me.
Yeah,
But like that doesn't matter. It's still fucking boring to me to watch because there's just nothing happening for so much time. Like it's just like to me, like football is like it's seen as like this one. So many scoring and like so much action. Like every play, people are hitting each other, and it's like yeah, but there's so much nothing. There's so
Yeah,
much
but,
nothing.
like-
There's so much commercial. Like football is one of the most boring sports I think I've ever watched.
Dude,
Like
no.
and like the worst part is Americans like view it as like just full of action. Like look at soccer. Americans are like, oh, they only score like twice a game. That's
I'm not
so
like
dull.
that.
I know
Yeah.
you're not. But you know what I mean? And like the thing is, like the truth is, soccer, this clock never stops. People are running constantly. Shit is happening. I still think soccer's kind of boring because again, the same thing happens every game. The same thing happens. With minor
right.
variations, like you know what I mean. Like sometimes the games are blowouts and sometimes they're not. But like for the most part, it's the same fucking game. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but
It's like when I
that's
watch
not
a
the
movie,
point.
I don't want
Like-
it to be the same movie every time.
Yeah, but okay, that's like saying that movies suck because your movie sucks because it had a car chase and it had people shooting guns. Every movie has people shooting guns and car chases.
but the thing is,
Therefore, it's a bad movie. No.
but it does,
That's
though.
not the thing that
A lot of
makes
times
it.
it makes movies bad when like they're
Yeah.
reusing plots.
But they're not. But that's what I'm saying, though. That's not what the guns and the car chases aren't what the movie's about. In the same way that the game is not what football is about. The way that what makes it interesting is that you have rivalries and you have history and you have storylines and you
Yeah.
have the players.
I understand all that.
And
I mean,
that. And
I
so
know.
really what it is, it's more like a soap opera. It's more like the reason why people like wrestling. People like wrestling not because it's like of like the physical. Not
Yeah,
that I
no one
like
actually
wrestling.
thinks it's real.
Yeah,
too.
nobody thinks it's
Everyone
real.
knows it's
Yeah,
fake.
but it's like the stuff that happens
Yeah.
around
No,
it.
I'm with you.
Like,
I
It's the
understand.
plot line. So
I
like,
understand,
but that's
but-
the same thing that makes anything
I
interesting.
know, but it seems like so frivolous to me as well. I mean, look, if you like sports, I don't have I don't care. Like you can do whatever you want, And like sometimes like I will admit I felt sport excitement, Like again, I like baseball, and most people hate baseball. But I mean not everyone. Baseball actually seems to be getting a revival in this town now that we have Jameis
Right.
Winston. But like
baseball is the most terrible one of
yeah,
them
you
all.
see.
Like,
well,
but-
I mean, the thing is, baseball. What I like about it is there's no pretending that it's not the same game every time.
Talk about downtime.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Baseball.
absolutely. Like, but that part of what I mean, the thing is, I don't watch it really anymore. But like, what I like about it is the infinity of it. Like every inning could go on forever potentially.
Yeah,
you know?
But at the same thing, like
you kind of just get like, and the thing is, there's so many games also. So each game, it's not like, you know, you have to like freak out. Like, you know, there's like 160 games in a season, so you can kind of just like watch a game, like eat a sandwich and drink a beer and like, you know, do your homework. You know what I mean? It's not like the investment you get with football, like where like
that's what makes it exciting.
Football, like you got to like sit through the commercials and shit, which drives me nuts. Like, and baseball, there's no clock. Like, I like sports where the fucking play doesn't get stopped for commercials every 10 seconds.
But nah, they don't. Well, if you ever played football, like there's no way you could implement like it would like. There's a difference
but they've made it worse though.
In football, but like football is intense, man. Like if you play football, like
yeah,
no,
I understand.
Down after down,
I understand.
And you're smashing into another human being.
I understand, dude. I played tackle football
like,
in my neighborhood. Like I'm just saying, like I understand. It's fucking really like strenuous. I understand that. You know,
but tackle football and like football
with pads. I know I know they're different, but I mean, you're such a pretentious football player. Like,
no,
I'm just saying, like,
I'm being honest.
I'm just saying, like, I understand, like, that it's fucking really, like, physically, like, demanding and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's fucking really boring because when you watch it on TV, because there's very little actual football there, you know? And there's very little, like, displays of human athleticism, which is what I find most interesting, you know? Like, baseball, like, the displays of human athleticism, like, are there, and, like, but the thing is, they're intertwined between the staring each other down, right? Dude. Which is, like, necessary for it, you know? And, like, it's the same thing with chess, right? But with football, I feel like they don't really play it up as much as they should. Like, the teams are made up of a coach who does all the staring down, and the players who mostly just do the motions that they were told to do. You know what I mean? And the players are really like are great at what they do, you know, and maybe the quarterback a few things like, and you know, maybe like the captain on the defensive side has to do like some staring down. But for the most part, you tell the receiver, you go out, you hook, and he has to do that every time, and you know he has to think of a couple different ways to like dance with.
That makes it the most strategic game out of all of them. Like if you compare a coach
I agree.
in football to a coach in any other sport.
No, I agree with that. I agree. They have a lot more work to do. The coaches in football are doing all of the strategy, in my view.
Yeah, they are. That's
pretty much. I mean, at least 95%. Like you know,
exactly.
And like that's what I find very lame about it. Like
that's what's great about it.
It's not really a sport for the players. I don't know. It's just, and it's also there's so much deceit in like how it's executed. Like they're like they're pretending like there isn't like this huge problem of people getting hurt. And like not just that, but like there's this whole like culture in this country with like college football players that who don't like get paid, and like there's all these there's all these high school players. Let's not forget about the high school players who fucking are getting seriously injured and getting no retribution from their high schools.
This is true.
There's so much sadness in football, and it's not that good of a sport. We build it up as like this super exciting sport, but to me, it's just as boring as baseball. And I don't like hate anyone for liking football over baseball. I get it. Like I understand, but but I mean, like I don't. To me, it's just I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like that was my whole point. My whole point is that it doesn't matter what the game is. Yeah. Like what really matters is the stuff outside of the game. That's what makes it more interesting.
Yeah, man, I feel like we're way over time.
We're over. We're over 8 minutes.
True. Yeah. Well, we needed to cut some out, anyways. But all right. Well, fuck. Blind Math Podcast. I don't know about today's podcast. It was interesting. I really want to have some guests on here, though. I'll be real.
Fuck you. I'm the most interested person in the world.
I agree.
I'm the most.
I agree that you are, but I really want like some guests that we can like talk to. That we can. I really want to ask some local musicians about the analog versus digital debate that we always have. To see what they think, because I think my opinion and I know your opinion, and I just want to hear what other people's opinion. Yeah,
the other people's opinion are that I'm right.
all right. On that note, Blind Math Podcast over.